Oh my gosh. Stay. Okay. Okay. Uja, to for tuning in. Just having a little tea while we wait for some more people to join. Uja. Wow, lots of hearts already. I'm just drinking tea. Maybe I'm working too hard. Just have to come online and drink tea. Let's see here. Thank you. I'm an intense tea drinker. All right, I'm just going to warm up with this beautiful djembe. I only know one rhythm. It's kind of ridiculous. You can't see the drum on the YouTube one. Let's see here. There we go. Right. Uja, Uba Nefer, Dua for tuning in tonight. Well, it looks like there's another comment. Another comment. I mean, I am a little sleep deprived, so please excuse me. You have to bear with me. That eclipse was something, and I stayed up and watched it. And anyway, well, not watched it. I did a transmission. So anyway, welcome to tonight's edition of Ancient African Adorations. My name is Arit Tachia Ahmet. Some of you may know me as Tachia Ahmet. I've been a reggae and world music artist for over 30 years. And the past 10 years, I've gotten into the Kemetic tradition, the Neterian tradition, and these wonderful Kemetic chants have been coming through. And recently, when was it? Was it during the equinox? It came to me to start doing the concert series again, but to follow the Neterian calendar, which is over here. I just posted the schedule for the month of December, which comes from the calendar here, which is published by the Temple of Amun. Here's the beautiful artwork. And the quote is, "There is a firm binding trust now between a certain child of a certain woman, so that for that child also, when the time comes, may the poison die too." Does anybody know what myth that is from? That is from the myth of Aset and Ra, when she made a pact with Ra that anytime one of the children became poisoned, that the child would be saved the same way that Ra was saved. So we have that binding trust. That's for us. So like when we become poisoned by materialism or egoism, there is an antidote. But anyway, I'm digressing. If you'd like to get your calendar from templeofourmoon.com, I think this is a perfect time to reach out to them because it's going to be time for the new calendar in a few weeks. So tonight, well, actually it was last night, December 4th, was the time when Goddess HetHeru goes to Nubia. However, I wasn't able to give the transmission then, so we're doing it tonight, December 5th. And then coming up in a week or so, we have from the 13th through the 18th, the Festival of HetHeru, followed by the full moon. And then we have the winter solstice observance of raising the jet pillar. And then the festival of lights is on the 22nd, the worship of the goddess for 5 days. And then on the 31st at midnight is Sirius culmination, where we honor Sirius rising, who was also associated with Aset. So after tonight, we have a break, and then we have a very intense 2 weeks of music and wisdom teachings. So let's get on with tonight. HetHeru goes to Nubia. Before we begin, we're going to open with our opening prayers before we recite from the Purdom Haru. Uja. So this one is Om Nebuja Capital Asar Om, and it's in honor of the deities Nebuja, Capital, and Asar. Nebuja is the all-encompassing divinity that permeates all and is the same as, the divinities by many other names. And then we have Kemet. Nebuchadnezzar came forth as a cosmic force. Oh, my computer's about to die. I thought I plugged it in. Cosmic force that is the creator. There we go. That's responsible for the creation that is referred to as Ra. So people think Ra is the creator. Kemet is the creator. Ra is creation. Ra is creation at the end of its time, or the end of the day. And then Asar, Nebuchadnezzar came forth as a cosmic force in a human form as Asar, who represents the universal soul. So this next chant is in honor of those three deities and of that journey that we make as Nebuchadnezzar, Kemet, and Asar. Om Nebuchadnezzar, Kemet, 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 Asar. Nebuchadnezzar, Kemet, Asar. tap. Oh, one more. One more for Nebuchadnezzar. This one is taken from the teachings of the Temple of Aset. Uja, Dua, so much for being here. The Temple of Aset teachings. And there was a time when Ra had been poisoned, and he called on the gods and goddesses to come present a antidote, and none of them had the antidote. And that's because the bite, the serpent, the snake that bit him was made by a set. It was not made by Ra or Kepra. It was made by a set, and so only she had the antidote. But anyway, when the gods and goddesses all came running towards Ra, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's going on? What's going on? They were saying, Ma Poo, Ma Poo. What's going on? What's going on? And so this song, I have Ma Poo on Nemu Nemu. No matter what's going on, remain in the stillness. And then the second verse is, when you know Nebuchadnezzar, you know everything. And I want to, before I go any further, offer my dua and gratitude to Dr. Moana Ashby Sabama and Dr. Karen Ashby Sabaja and Sema Institute, Shatao Netter Temple of Aset, for producing all these wisdom teachings that inspire me to come forward with this music, and for all the classes and workshops and webinars and conferences that I've attended. If you're interested in learning more about the wisdom teachings, I highly recommend you go to EgyptianYoga.com, and you can still register for their Winter Solstice Conference, which is coming up in a few weeks. I am taking a break from my temple studies so that I can focus on the music. Babu, Nemu Nemu. Babu, Nemu Nemu. No matter what's going on, remain in the stillness. No matter what's going on, remain in the stillness. When you know Nebuchadnezzar, you know everything. 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 All right. Do a tap. All right, now let's move on to the subject for the night. HetHeru goes to Nubia. Sounds so exciting. And like I say, I'm new to following this calendar, and there's a lot of things that I'm just, studying for the first time myself, and I've never thought of HetHeru going to Nubia. I had no idea what that was about. And so I have a few, things I'm going to read from, but basically in a nutshell, if you're familiar with the story of HetHeru, there's a time when she was sent to the earth to destroy the unrighteous, and she took on the form of Sekhmet. Some stories, they say she took on the form as Tefnut, which is interesting because Tefnut, Sekhmet, and Bastet are sisters, triple goddesses of the flame. But anyway, so she took on this other form, and then then Jehuti was sent to the earth to help her remember her divinity and bring her back to her divine state. Well, it turns out when sent to earth, she went to Nubia. I didn't know that. She went to Nubia, and then she was there for, all this time slaying the unrighteous, and then she started slaying the righteous, and then she went through the teachings with Jehuti. And so when I come back in a week, we're going to have those 6 days of HetHeru, and that's when we celebrate her coming back to her divinity, coming back to Ra, coming back to Kemet. And so that's it in a nutshell. We're talking about the time when HetHeru was sent to the earth and took on this other form. So let's get on to some of these wonderful readings that I found. First one is from this book called, what is it called? It's called, it's called Dancers. It's not listed here. All the way to the beginning. Oh, Nubian Women in Egyptian Cultic Life. So it's interesting because when people think of Nubia and Kemet, they only refer to the time when Nubia conquered Kemet for like 200 or maybe 500 years. And then the Greeks and everybody came in, and that was the fall. But people don't realize that it was Nubia, then it was Ethiopia, and then Ethiopia established the colonies of Kemet and India. And so when we say Kemet, we're talking about Nubia. There was no separation of the lineage just because it expanded to cover different lands. It was only till towards the end that there was all these wars. And the other thing that the Egyptologists don't mention is the reason why Nubia went into Kemet towards the end and fought this huge battle is it was fighting off the Assyrians, and it took over the rulership to gain it back. It wasn't like the Nubians were fighting the Egyptians and this is. No, they were all coming together to reclaim what had been taken. So we need to keep that in perspective when we start talking about Kemet and Nubia. All right, so this book talks about the dances of Nubian women. And if you're familiar with HetHeru, there was a scene where Ra had become discouraged and depressed, and HetHeru came and danced for her father and exposed her vulva. And people will say it's incest. But then they're forgetting that these are cosmic forces of nature, and not just to take it literally as their their human forms. So anyway, HetHeru is already associated with dance. And here we have in this book on page 64, in the Ptolemaic period, 323 to 30 BC, temple at Medamud, the hieroglyphic text of a hymn to HetHeru describes the dancing Nubians who accompanied the goddess on her return from Nubia in her manifestation of Tefnut, the Eye of Ra, performing sacred dances for Hathor, Nubian dancers, musicians, and acrobats were a recurring theme and representations of historic rites, jubilees, and banquet scenes for millennia. So basically in Nubia, they're still carrying on this ritual of dancing for HetHeru during her movement from Kemet to Nubia and then back from Nubia to Kemet. And then here on page 66, okay, yeah, that's later. That's the return from Nubia. Okay, and then another source I had talks a little bit about Nubia. This is from the MFA of Fine Arts of Boston, Museum of Fine Arts in Boston. They had a exhibit, Arts of Ancient Nubia, and that's the image that was seen on the flyer, the image of HetHeru on a crystal sphere, like a bead, piece of jewelry. And it says here, ancient Nubia was home to a series of civilizations between the 6th millennium BC and AD 850. Now, 6th millennium BC, and we're talking about the ancestors of Kemet. So we know it's way older than 6th millennium. They're talking about like the later periods that produced towering monuments, including more periods than a neighboring Kemet, and artifacts of enduring beauty and significance. Nubia's trade network reached across the Mediterranean and far into Africa. At the time that Nubian kings conquered Egypt in the middle of the 8th century BC, they controlled one of the largest empires of the ancient world. They don't mention that they went in to help Kemet to kick out the Assyrians. They just leave that out. Like, isn't that important? Okay, and then last but not least, Nubian HetHeru found at El Kuru in Sudan. That's the crystal amulet. So they say that this piece of jewelry is from the Napatan period, the reign of Pai Bianchi, found at El Kuru, Sudan. The crystal ball amulet is surmounted by a gold head of Hathor crowned with disc and horns. The ball is, well, it just talks about the jewelry. It says it believed to have, so the ball actually would hold a substance, a fragrance, and it was a substance that have magical properties of protection. Okay, and what they have here. Let's talk about how she's the cow goddess, the mistress of the West, helped with childbirth, patron goddess of minors, pre-dynastic cults, and I'll talk about her traveling here. Okay, so let's have some more music. Right, so this is the Hekau from the Temple of Neter, Temple of Aset. So when we say dua, it means adorations or peace or gratitude, thank you. It's a way of saying thank you. In this case, it means adorations. Dua HetHeru Netrita, HetHeru the great goddess. Dua HetHeru Sekima, Sekhmet, the life force energy. So if you'd like to sing along with me or call and response, just join right in. Oh, and this is a sistrum. I got this at in Abydos. If you can see up close, it has the image of HetHeru representing the heart chakra. And then the 3 upper chakras, it represents the Jed pillar of Basar, the steadfastness. And when we shake the sistrum, it says it removes chaos. Dua HetHeru Netrita. Dua HetHeru Netrita. Dua HetHeru Netrita. Dua HetHeru Sekima. Dua HetHeru Sekima. Dua HetHeru Sekima. Duku HetHeru Netrita. Duku HetHeru Netrita. Duku HetHeru Netrita. All right. And this next song I want to offer, I don't have the translation right in front of me. I wonder if it's in. So I'm just going to have to wing the translation. Uh-oh, what is that? Some banner just went across the screen. All right, so normally when I sing this one, I like to stand up because it says HetHeru stand up. So I'm going to stand up. Oh, YouTube, you can't see me. Okay, I'm going to stand up. HetHeru Vahayim Sekima Tenetrita Tenebitawi Tenebide Ubindawi Rekatiri Neterian Anateskere Tenebitawi Tenebide Tenetrita Tepe HetHeru, stand up, raise yourself up as the all-encompassing goddess of life force energy. You are the mistress of the world. You are loved by the people, and the gods and goddesses all know your name. Mistress of the world, great goddess of love and beauty. That's paraphrasing the translation. Ucha, Dua. Great to see you here. Uja in Botswana. Dua for tuning in. Okay. And the next offering. Oh, okay. This one is Nukpu HetHeru. I am HetHeru, the great goddess. I am peace. HetHeru, like I said, is the goddess who was sent to earth to eliminate the unrighteous, and she got so caught up in her egoism that she forgot who she was. And Jehuti was sent to earth to help her remember her divinity. So she's considered the great goddess because she was, all consumed with her egoism and found her way back through wisdom teachings, through listening to the cosmic mind instead of her ego mind. And we can do the same. We have the same potential because HetHeru lives within us. She is within us. So here we go. Nukpu HetHeru, 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 Neterita, Nukpu HetHeru, Neterita, Nukpu HetHeru, Neterita, Nukpu HetHeru, Neterita, Nukpu HetHeru, 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 Neterita, Nukpu HetHeru, Neterita, Nukpu HetHeru, Neterita, Nukpu HetHeru, Neterita, Nukpu HetHeru, Neterita. Right. Getting a little visit from Anpu here. My dog is checking us out. Hey, Sybil. I think they can see you on YouTube. Yep, there she is. Sybil. Anpu in the house. Let's see if TikTok can see her. There she goes. Okay. All right. Next song. Oh, no, now we're going to go back to the wisdom teachings. Okay. Stay. All right. Wisdom teachings. Well, let's start with the Goddess book on page 15. Oh, I forgot I had some passages in these books. Oh, my goodness. I don't know if I saved the pages. Page 15. This is the goddess book, the back book with the Reket Ushet for worshiping the goddess during the winter solstice. And on page 15, they have the story of HetHeru and Jehuti. I don't know what that says. So let's just have a little reading from here. Ra is the creator of the universe. He is the very source of all that exists. The Pauti, or the Pestet Ennead, or the 9 divinities, the primordial gods and goddesses of creation, emanated from the supreme being Ra or Ratem, arose out of the Nu, the primeval waters, the hidden essence, and began sailing the boat of millions of years, which included the Neteru. The Neteru of the Pauti are Ra, Amun, Shu, Tefnut, Geb, Nut, Asar, Aset, Set, Nebutet, HetHeru, Jehuti, and Ma'at came into existence at the instant of creation. One day, HetHeru left Kemet and traveled south into the land of Nubia. She transformed herself into the form of a lioness. When she left Kemet, it was devastated. Gloom filled the atmosphere. Everything was in decline. The forces of darkness, chaos, injustice, unrighteousness, and evil began to take control of the land because HetHeru, who was the power of Ra, which he used to uphold righteousness and truth, had left the land. Ra, the supreme being, creator of the gods and goddesses, and the entire universe, became sorrowful at the loss of his daughter, his very power. HetHeru took pleasure in her new form. She killed everything she could find. She lived in the forest and took delight in causing fear and pain. Ra called the gods and goddesses and asked who would bring his beautiful daughter back. Everyone was afraid because, as the Eye of Ra, HetHeru held the power of life and death over all things. In her new form, HetHeru lived the life of a predator. She hunted and killed anything that came into her view without discrimination or remorse. So Ra called the god Jehuti and asked him to find and bring back the beautiful HetHeru. Jehuti realized that if he was to accomplish this dangerous task, he would need to be clever in order to avoid being HetHeru's next meal. Okay, so that's pretty fascinating. So we got over there. And like I said, later on in the month, we'll go over the parables that Jehuti told HetHeru. I have songs for 2 of the parables, so my intention is to get to the other 3. And I don't know, I couldn't decide if I should write songs that like say the parable because it's kind of long, or just songs that summarize the parable. So that's what I'm working on. Let's see if there's any more comments over here. Okay. All right, so that's page 15. And then I already forgot which page it was in this book. Did I write it down? Doesn't seem like I wrote it down. Simple. Okay, so this one. Bear with me. I didn't write down the page. 61, 62. Looks like it was a bunch of stuff. I might just skip it. Oh no, here we go. Okay, a little bit about the relationship between Nubia and Kemet. It's just what I was saying before. The situation between ancient Kemet and Nubia may be likened to that of England and the United States. Far from a racial issue, it so happened that the child Kemet grew to such stature and glory that surpassed the parent, and due to certain cultural differences that developed between the countries, there was a vying over control of trade, just as 2 siblings quarrel over clothing or jewelry. The true state of affairs between the 2 countries became evident when Kemet was besieged and occupied by foreign conquerors. The Nubians lent their support as allies. if not family members, coming to the rescue of kin in trouble to restore Kemet to her former glory. And this is page 61, and it goes on, about the Hyksos and the Assyrians and Karma, like Karma. That's interesting. I'm not going to read all that. Here's some pictures of the Nubian pyramids. They're a little taller than the ones in Kemet, but they have the similar entrances. Look at that. They have the temple entrance in front of the pyramid, whereas in Kemet, they have the temple entrances for the temples, not in front of the pyramids. Let's see. While the divinity Amun was popular in Nubia, the popularity was exemplified in the later periods of Nubian history, which began with the New Kingdom period in Kemet. The Nubian preference was the ram-headed man, while the preferences in Kemet was either the ram in a completely zoomorphic animal form or the divinity as a man with the body and head of a man. So that's interesting. The Nubian representation of Amun had the ram head with the human body, and in Kemet they either had the ram or the human. And there's just more illustrations of the Nubian temples. Okay. And then last but not least, we have from the Assyrian Resurrection, page 152. Which is just another version of the story of when HetHeru went to Nubia. Here we go. The Eye of Ra and the Eye of Heru. Okay, this cursor is just so weird. Okay. I don't know what that's saying. Okay, don't go there. Okay, so this, like I said, is just another version. Come on, scroller. 20 minutes. Oh, it's got a mind zone. Okay, now we got it. I apologize. This scroll. It's going backwards. This only happens when I'm on this live streaming. When I'm just at home reading the book, this doesn't happen. Okay, I might have just let it stop. Okay. There we go. Nope. This is the strangest thing. I certainly was not expecting this. Now I went to page 143. Okay. Okay, 152, please. TikTok universe. Okay, I don't know what is going on here. Everything was going so smooth. Try this. Next. It is not working today. Oh. Okay, previous. Okay, well, I guess that's just not going to happen. Okay, yeah, that's just not going to happen today. All right. Well, it was just a variation of the story that I already read, so just had a few more tidbits. Okay, so as I mentioned before, Kemet and India were once colonies of Ethiopia, and Kush, Ethiopian Kush, and are all descendants of Nubia. And the last thing that I found about this event of HetHeru goes to Nubia is the name of Nubia. The indigenous name of Nubia is Beheny, Beheny. And I learned that from this book, Volume 5, Egyptian Book of the Dead, Hieroglyphic Translations, The Temple of Amun-Ra at Abu Simbel, page 176. And they've got a translation of this iconography where they're talking about the royal personality, which we've talked about in other sessions. Of the royal personality is representing of the enlightened being, royalty, the pharaoh, or people like us who are on the path of enlightenment. Someone who's on the path of enlightenment, on the journey to enlightenment, and we're making offerings to the divinity. But if you really study the glyphs, we're actually making offerings to our higher self, offerings to ourself for our well-being, for our protection, for our success. And so in this hieroglyph, the royal personality is making offering to Ra or Amun-Ra. And so on this particular page, the adoration of one's higher self, the great divinity Heru. Okay, so it is Heru as Ra. And there's a passage that says, Meduje in Heru Ra, Neb Beheni Sa Medi Neb Tawi, User Mat Ra Setep in Ra. Words spoken by Heru Ra, Lord Beheni, Son beloved of the two lands, power of the truth of the Creator Spirit, chosen by the Creator Spirit. And this is where it says that Beheni is Nubia, present day Wadi Halfa. And here's an image of Wadi Halfa, present day Wadi Halfa. So I didn't find any specific passages about this trip for HetHeru to Nubia. So I just came up with these. It's not even a heck out, but it's just giving thanks or adorations. And this the app I got it, HetHeru. That sounds nice. That's a little too much. You change one peg and the whole thing changes. Okay, so the words for this HetHeru are Dua HetHeru in Beheni, Dua Sekmet in Kemet. Because HetHeru went to Beheni and for this experience, and then she transformed into Sekmet, and she came back to Kemet, came back to her divinity. Dua HetHeru in Beheni, Dua Segment in Kemet, Nupu HetHeru in Beheni, Nupu Segment in Kemet, Dua HetHeru in Beheni, Dua Segment in Kemet, Nupu HetHeru in Beheni, Nupu Segment in Kemet, Dua HetHeru in Beheni, Dua Segment in Kemet, Nupu HetHeru in Beheni, Nupu Segment in Kemet, Dua HetHeru in Beheni, Dua Segment in Kemet, Nupu HetHeru in Beheni, Dua Segment in Kemet, Nupu HetHeru in Beheni, Nupu Segment in Kemet. Dua HetHeru Bahani Dua segmen in Kemet Nepu HetHeru in Bahani Nepu segmen in Kemet. Hatep, Dua HetHeru in Bahani. HetHeru goes to Nubia. Dua segment in Kemet. HetHeru returns from her experience as Sekhmet to her divinity, returns to Kemet. All right. Dua for joining me. Dua for tuning in. It's been real. It's been wonderful. And I'm going to be busy preparing for next week's. Oh, wow. There's some more comments. Right. Some say they are only cosmic forces. Right. Some say they began as cosmic forces and then took on the form as humans or gods and goddesses. But gods and goddesses are cosmic forces. So it just depends on how you look at it. Some Bushmen are calling her said to possess power to transform into a lion. I'm sure they are. I'm sure they do have that power. I wouldn't put it past them. That's probably a great way to catch a lion is to become a lion. I sure hope so. Hope I'm singing loud enough for you to hear me. I think when I was playing this system was really loud to the microphone. Okay, well, that's what I have for you tonight. And I'll be back on the 13th for the time when we honor when HetHeru returns to Ra, returns to her divinity. And we'll be learning about the parables and Jehuti. And let me see if I can get that other version of the myth pulled up because it was a little different. Not a lot different, but otherwise. All right, here we go. It's cooperating now. Okay. Just slowly scroll up the page. Just a little bit more. We're almost there. Uh-oh, it's starting to do its own thing again. I don't know, this ebook thing. Uja, do it for tuning in. Oh. Oh, man. Oh, I see. It went to verse 152 instead of page 152. Man, you're thinking too far. Let's try 153 and see what happens. Let me go down. At least now I know why I was doing that. Come on. It's such a good story. Okay. I'm just going to close it. And we'll pick up here next time. I'll start with this passage from the other book. Okay, do it again. If you have any comments or suggestions or questions, please leave them in the comments. And I really appreciate you taking the time to be here with me because it would be pretty boring without your presence. Thank you again. Dua Hatep. Oops. End live stream. Post. Please post it. Okay, post. Uja Hatep.